Chag Sameach. Psalm 2 speaks to the leaders of the world and says, Ve'ata melachim haskilu hivasru shoftei aretz. Ivdu et Adonai beyira vegilu bir'ada. Nashku var pen ye'enaf v'tovdu. Derech ki yiv'ar kim'at apo ashrei kol chosei bo. So now, O rulers of earth, be prudent, accept discipline, you who have dominion over the earth. Serve the Creator with awe and rejoice with trembling. Pay homage in good faith, lest God be angered and your way be doomed in the mere flash of God's anger. Happy are those who take refuge with the Holy One. Serve the Holy One with awe, or perhaps a healthy dose of fear. And when you rejoice, do so with trembling. This strange mix of joy and trembling, of serving with a sense of awe or even fear, is at the heart of so many Jewish rituals. We are commanded, if we read between the lines and with a large perspective, to live by the laws of our Torah in a place of moderation. In this immoderate age, and it is not the first one, it is not easy to be in a middle ground of any sort. But our celebrations, our times of joy, are so many. They far outnumber our times of commanded sorrow and solemnity. In all of our festivals, joy is the overriding emotion that we are to feel. V'samachta v'chagecha. You shall rejoice in your celebrations. Would that more of us could do so. But it feels so challenging to find joy when there is so much uncertainty and sorrow and fear and want and need and neglect and pain and illness in this world, doesn't it? It feels almost sacrilegious to celebrate, to have a feast, even a moderate one, to buy something new to wear or indulge in other kinds of self-care when there is so much hurt in the world. There is no neat formula, teaches Rabbi Artson, for balancing those needs. Common sense urges restraint. It is very possible to be entirely too lavish, too ostentatious. But how much should each of us tamper our celebrations in such a way that would make any appreciable difference in the level of suffering in the world? And so, as always, we have to find a middle ground. And a verse in today's Parsha does that so beautifully. It might escape us as it flies by, but in this reading, as part of the looking forward commandments for how to celebrate Shavuot, we heard today in Parshat Re'eh, you shall rejoice before the Lord your God with your son and daughter, your male and female slave, the Levite in your community, and the stranger, the orphan, and the widow in your midst. We'll set aside for a moment the notion of the Bible's sanctioning of, quote, slavery. But Rashi looks at this verse and notes that there is a symmetry of numbers between the household of the celebrating Jew and the number of the needy. Don't forget that the Levites did not have their own portion of land. They were dependent on the kindness of the community. And so therefore, while it would seem obvious to include in one's celebration his or her children and household, the others that are included are teaching us a powerful lesson. The Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. So Rashi suggests putting words into the mouth of the Holy One. On your celebration, there will be 4 of yours corresponding to 4 of mine. Your son, your daughter, your male servant, and your female servant. My Levite, my stranger, my orphan, and my widow. If you will gladden mine, I will gladden yours. The poor and the downtrodden have God's special concern and love. And only a society that values and remembers the poor and the downtrodden and the afraid, the refugee and the immigrant, the underserved and the marginalized, has any hope of ever achieving the beautiful vision in Isaiah's Haftarah. Not for nothing does the psalmist speak to the leaders. And each of us, though we feel small and possibly powerless, has the divine mandate to be a leader, even if for only one other person, to lead them through whatever Mitzrayim or narrow place they are experiencing into some kind of safe harbor. Each of us has that ability, and it is at these celebrations when, thank God, none of us has gone hungry. We might kvetch a little bit about the matzah, but for heaven's sake, we are all fed and cared for, and we have friends and community and resources to lean upon. These holidays, these celebrations were set up in such a way so that there is always a little bit of a tempering of our joy, and that's what the psalmist means. When we come to the end of a wedding, the most joyous celebration in all of Jewish life, arguably, we smash a glass for so many possible reasons, but one of them, chief among them, is to remember the brokenness of the world, the destruction of the temple, and what it represented to our ancient ancestors. At the Seder, just a few nights ago, we spilled drops of wine or grape juice to temper our celebration when we are forced to think about the devastation wrought on the Egyptians by the plagues, the result of a despotic and tyrannical and mercurial leader who brought down such pain and suffering on his people, and so our joy is tempered. We serve God with awe, and we rejoice with trembling. And at the end of our festivals, our Shlosh Regalim, Sukkot, Passover, and Shavuot, we say Yizkor. Not to end the holidays with sadness, but simply to remind us of how precious is memory, how essential it is, how it must work side by side with our celebrations and remind us to celebrate even more deeply and more powerfully, because every single day is an absolute, irreplaceable gift. We do honor to those who have left us physically, but who remain forever in our hearts. Within the walls of this synagogue, we can feel their spirits. We bring in the souls, the memory of all of those who were part of Am Tikva, of B'nai Emunah, Beth Israel, Judea, and all of those from all of the places that we have walked in our lives. In just a few days, we have Yom HaShoah. This is a time of such heaviness and yet such rejoicing. And the beauty of Judaism is that we are commanded to hold both at once. It takes balance, big shoulders, and a lot of strength, and most of all, deep and abiding heart. Baruch Hashem, the Jewish people, with all of our foibles and faults, have nonetheless held our heads up high and dared to celebrate, even as we remember everything that has come before, the good and the bad, the bitter and the sweet. Judaism is a religion of al kol eleh. For all of these things, we are grateful, for they make up the story of our lives and our people. May we serve God and our tradition and one another with awe and amazement that we are still here to do so, and celebrate with the trembling that comes from accepting and acknowledging the aching fragility of the blessing of life. We honor that blessing of life with the Yizkor prayers. And before our Yizkor service, President of Ner Tamid, Charlotte Hyman, will offer some words of appeal.
As we gather for Yizkor, we unite in sacred remembrance, honoring the memories of our beloved family members and friends who have passed. This is a moment deeply woven into the tapestry of our tradition, a time where we reflect on the lives and legacies of those who have left an indelible mark upon us. In Jewish life, the act of giving tzedakah is a time-honored tradition, elevated during Yizkor as a meaningful way to honor and remember those who have enriched our lives. Through tzedakah, we elevate their souls, allowing their values and kindness to shine brightly in our world. Each contribution you make is a testament to their enduring influence, directly strengthening our synagogue, sustaining its cherished programs, and enriching the spiritual lives of our community. Your generosity fuels the mission to preserve our sacred spaces and spiritual practices for future generations. On this sacred day, as we bring to mind the names and deeds of our loved ones, let us commit ourselves to this beautiful legacy of giving. May their memories continue to guide us, and may their spirits live on through the mitzvot we perform in their name. May the memory of our dear ones be a blessing, engraving their values upon our hearts and lives. Thank you for your compassionate support and for embodying the spirit of your loved ones. I'd like to share this poem. In Yizkor's solemn, sacred light, we remember souls now out of sight. Through prayers deep and heartfelt cries, their teachings live, their spirit flies. Bound in faith, we softly speak. For those departed, peace we seek. With Torah and mitzvot as their guide, in our hearts they still abide. As candles flicker, memories gleam in the warmth of love's esteem. their lives the blessing we proclaim in every whisper of their name. May these words offer comfort and reflection during Yizkor. Thank you.